Are you doing it through a computer?
No, same fucking we use. I got it back together. It's cool right now. But yeah,
Left eye started.
no, she was set up. She was left eye was put on a situation in which it was like it was drawn up for her. That's not necessarily what she had to go through. It's just that's the process her people put her through, off the points and whatnot. Because yeah, I do agree with you on that. Everybody's get paid first because you paying everybody else to get the track or whatever made. You paying for that studio time. You paying for that guy to come over and redo your producing. Unless you doing all this shit yourself, which everybody don't start off like that. Everybody can't be Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz son when you born with a studio and you producing your own songs and shit. So we gotta work to that point. And then when it finally get out there, yeah, that's when everybody start to get the results. Unless you the only one who paid for the publishing. You know what I'm saying? But she was with a company in which this is how they did shit, and they had to go off of points and shit. They could have been low key doing performances on their own, but you decided the contract that you can't do it. So they could have been showing up around Atlanta and making their money, but they signed the contract in which they had to work through the face, and now they got to get paid through points and shit because they didn't know.
That's what I'm saying, but that's all the silent label. It's just not like that. You got a lot more personal access. You can put something on YouTube right now. Hell, you and I are proof right now what we're doing. You don't need a company.
We do. We are the company. Let me stop. But yeah, I see what you said. Yeah, we independent. We an independent company. You know, really.
You don't need a corporation. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you didn't need one. It's just that's what I'm saying. It's the power. It goes back to what we said in the previous podcast that the system's so fucked up. They had you thinking you couldn't do shit without the system. When you can do everything. Like I don't understand people who. You've been working for KFC for 30 years. You wondering why you don't make no money. Instead of taking that time and thinking, hold on, I've been making chicken for 30 years. Why can't I open my own chicken restaurant? Like the mentality in our heads. You got people retiring as engineers at places, hoping they get their pension instead of saying, look, I could make my own clinic. I've been doing this for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? That's what made me stop. That's what made me stop and say, let me.
Situation where they have these immediate things. Of course, the bottom line is sacrifice in the end.
Yeah, it's
I
like
heard enough stories about Tyler Perry and.
It's like what they say with black people. It's like what they say with.
Out of their car. They were living in their car basically.
Right, but it's about taking that sacrifice or erasing that fear because it's like a fear people have that they like. For example, that one guy. I forgot his name, but he was a bus driver here in Detroit. He's the one who put on the floor the situations of how the city was dealing with COVID with the bus drivers. They were still making them drive in the public.
Yeah.
And he said somebody coughed in his face, and he don't know what's going on. He died like a week later from COVID.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember when he passed.
My thing is, okay, put that shit out there, brother. But at the same time, shame on you, nigga, because quit that shit. Why the fuck are you going to work? But he was trying to say, some people got to feed their kids and we don't got the luxury. Yes, you do. You have clean pee and you have a CDL license. You can get the fuck on and say, I'm not working for no company where I'm exposed to people with COVID. And they got truckers that still driving. You can drive by yourself or with your wife, anything. But he was in a reality in which his only option was DDOT. So he had to come to work to feed his kids. And he ended up dying with that belief. And he shouldn't have. He should have left. I didn't go back to my job. I said, I'm not about to be on the school buses and shit. You send us a virus out here. You want me to wear a mask and change oil? Fuck you. Fuck. And I went and started my own. I fixed cars in my backyard. I'm not about to be expose myself to bullshit. Either we're going to take it seriously or we not. We ain't going to act like when it's time to make money, suddenly the virus ain't that big. But then suddenly we should.
It only exists when they say it was.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we can't be around this shit. Don't suddenly, when it's time for your company to make money, we can hire now. And then the governor suddenly gets scared. So we'll open up restaurants 50% so you can go to work. You just got to wear a mask. Nah, you can still go to work. You can still do shit, even though people still dying.
And she's trying to make sure she get that second term.
I guess. Because my thing with that situation was, listen to me quick, okay?
Yep.
My thing is, we got tons of niggas who got killed for no reason, women that came up missing or dead for no reason, children that got killed, murdered, innocents lost in Detroit. People paying child support when they homeless, getting arrested because they didn't find a job to pay child support for sometimes for kids that ain't even theirs. Been going through this for decades, and nobody do shit. Right. Nobody storm Penobscot building. Nobody go down to the Bobby Inn and say enough is enough. Nobody do shit. The governor closed down the state to make people healthy, and a couple people can't go to the gym and can't go to the salon. When I tell you, if we ever decide to walk down Woodward that deep and say we about to kill the governor or we about to kill the mayor, I swear to God, Detroit will turn to a prison city. So for that to happen and we act like it didn't happen, that and January 6th, let me know it's a lot of bullshit in the game and that it's about money at the end of the day. Because, bitch, you know shit's supposed to be still closed. You got people out here thinking because they took this shit. Right. That right. And they still try to play it off like, well, Trump invited us there, so if he invited us, we could do it. You know, like silly shit like that. I had one woman tell me, white boy Rick is a victim, but Kwame Kilpatrick full of shit, because how is he trying to find God, and he know he full of shit, but white boy Rick was a victim. The police set him up. He didn't want to sell drugs and make all that money, and girl, get the fuck out of here. I said every other nigga in Detroit in the 80s sold dope back then, because that was the new money, and he was the one who decided to snitch on the black kids and end up coming up short. And now he want to sue? Fuck you, nigga. If he get a check, I swear to God, every nigga that sold dope in the 80s need a check. Because he wasn't the only one.
Right now sounds like it should be an episode of the Boondocks.
My God. My God. My God. You see what I'm saying?
I was sued because I was one. Then Al Bundy, the dude that broke into his house sued him for Al touching his blood.
Do you see what I'm saying? This is the crazy shit we are in. This is what we in. You see what I'm saying? This is the bullshit. No, don't. This is the bullshit that we in. Where the dope man can sue the system because he felt like he was dead wrong. He the victim. Now, you know, fuck all the money he made in the 80s. Fuck the documentaries he did. Fuck the movie they made with him. No. He don't need, that's not enough money. He need more.
The only thing he should have did, the only thing he didn't do that he should have did while he was standing in court was give the same speech that Wesley Snipes did in New Jack City.
To me, that's what that whole press conference was. That was the last speech. That was the same speech that Nino Brown did at the end. That was the exact same speech. Except white boy Rick didn't get shot by the pastor and by the old man at the end. So white boy Rick. Right? Do you know how many niggas sold dope in the 80s that got fantastic stories? Why is white boy Rick the only one who got it? And you can't even stream his movie. You got to pay extra to watch his movie. You can't stream it like everybody else's movie. You got to pay to watch that movie. So it's a ticket behind this movie. You see what I'm saying? But that's not enough. He need more money. Because, you know, that's like, how old were you when you found out that the Save the Kids jar at the liquor store is really the tip jar for the liquor store?
Right.
That ain't going to no goddamn kids. That's what they split up at the end of the goddamn night. So on top of making thousands of dollars by selling poison to our people, they need to be tipped for it. So they make up a fake charity saying, we're gonna send the money back to Afghanistan. No, bitch, you splitting that shit at the end of the night, and you maybe give it to the things that count the balls in the back of your store. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm always like, you know, really worried of a lot of charities because, quite frankly, down there when Katrina hit, the people work for the Red Cross were wringing out nasty clothes that was in that water. Like, they use that as a lightning rod just to get more money.
You see?
You saw what happened to all the people that were living down there.
You see?
Or a lot of them.
You see? That's for example. That's for a fucking example. You see what I'm saying? It's really crazy. I was gonna bring it back in September, Labor Day weekend. We was supposed to go for the Independence Day. Technical difficulties came down, but it's Leo season, and this week was like enough to say let's bring Keeping It Realer back. And it was just so off the hook and shit like this. Yeah, it makes you say, wow, we didn't even talk about no comic book shit or nothing. We just went in on political shit. But that's the system we in now. That's the system we in.
And to be quite frank, the comic book stuff isn't anywhere near as entertaining as our crap that's going on now. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Have you heard about Donald Trump going around with a fake president podium talking to people like he's still president?
Yeah, y'all seen the ultimate example of denial.
I mean, and then that's another one too. Y'all crazy asses is so obsessed with a nigga that when he got fired from his job, instead of accepting he got fired, y'all went down to Washington, D.C. and killed a couple of people and tore up some shit? And we want to forget about that? Let that happen. Let 1,000 black people storm the Penobscot building and just fuck up a couple of judges.
They will be getting picked off before they even got to the Penobscot.
First of all, we'll be learning about that movie in 30 years when they be talking about the shit. They won't talk about it for 30 years. It'd be, you know, business as usual. Niggas would just get arrested. you won't even hear about it. Just like it's like Flint, they had enough money to make a movie, paid Queen Latifah to make a movie, but they still ain't fixed Flint water. But a couple days ago, some bitch just came into the drawing. She about to win $1 million because she took a vaccine shot. So she getting $1 million, but the city, the people who drinking water in Flint, they still coming up short, my nigga. And they accepting of that shit. They still up there they think that's normal. They mentality so fucked up in Flint, that's their new normal. That's what they doing to our people. They fucking their mouths up that they willing to take poison. They convincing themselves they can't go nowhere and they have to stay here because their family is there and they willing to kill themselves and their children along the way.
Dream of what it would look like if all of a sudden they just got something together, rid of some buses area, and just evacuate the city.
Rid of some buses, right? Cleveland, Chicago, down south, anywhere.
Right.
People be willing to take you in, to hire you, and to put you in their shelters to get that federal money. Because it's all about how much money can I get in your head. That's what it goes back to me saying at the end of the day, all this shit is about how much money can you get and how much money you're going to lose. There's no such thing as stealing. There's no such thing as gaining, earning money. It's about what you got to do to increase that number and what you got to do to decrease that number. And the part of the game is each day you got to increase your number. Because the bigger your number is, the more stuff you can do in this country. In this video game we call America. In this so-called experiment we call America. So this is really wild to me, and I just had to, it was so much in my mind, and every time I have a conversation this week, I was drawing people in, and I said, I gotta put this on tape. I mean, look at me, I'm old. On the internet. I said tape. I still say tape. I don't give a fuck. I still say tape. I still say VCR. Put it in the VCR. Put the tape on.
I forgot how many, like, the amount of space that it had on it. This was like 2 years ago. It was a cassette tape that could hold so much data, like it was astronomical.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, what you gonna play it in?" So
I remember those. I remember those, and I remember the little trick that you used to do when you put the piece of paper in the little slot, and instead of being 2 hours, you turn it to 6 hours. So instead of recording one movie, you can record three.
The top of the cassette tape, so you can record over some stuff.
You record but you can extend the time like that too.
Right.
You do that to record. You do that if you don't got a blank tape and you got to record over a real tape. But if you want to extend it, they had like little options. I think on the VCRs like UHF, VHF, and HF. But you turned it from 4 hours to 6 hours because that's how I did it. I used to tape like Saturday. I used to set my VCR and tape Saturday Night Live, and because I used to fall asleep.
Later on, you are going to digitally put in a little segment right after you said VCR and explain to the youngins what a VCR is.
No, I'm to the point in our production that we if you're a fan, you're a fan. I don't gotta explain shit. If you listen to this show, it's a good chance you got knowledge of the VCR.
What's a VCR?
You see what I'm saying?
Like beta.
I told my son last night, I was asking him about Little Baby. I said, I like the way he rap. You heard his tape? He said, what? I said, his tape. He said, like a sex tape? I said, no, a tape. With his last tape. His CD. He said, you mean album? I said, yeah, album. Whenever he recorded his last project. His last project, is how you heard it. He like, yeah, it sound good. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it. I may have to download. I like the way he rap. I be like, thinking I'm not gonna like this little nigga, and he just start rapping. I be like, this nigga is, oh my god, he's on fire, you know. So he's one of those little niggas I like. But anyway, back to the lesson in hand. I'm just still upset and full of fire. It's like you would think I do cocaine now. You would think and then on top of all the shit, once we get off the podcast shit, I got some other shit to spit onto you about my week. This full moon crazy fucking week. But
listen, this is what we live here. We living in hell.
It's not. We ain't living in hell. You remember your father was the one who told us that heaven and hell are conditions of life. So you make it what you want to.
Not places.
It's a double-headed.
After you die.
It's a double-headed sword. So heaven could always be hell. It depends on what you're looking at.
Right.
If you homeless, if you got evicted.
This continent, you can be anything you want as long as government. Look, if you want to be a drug dealer, become a doctor. They know we got an opiate problem. It's not everybody doing lines and shooting up. It's prescription drugs.
You see, and it's crazy because
we got a cocaine problem.
Yeah, or it's like it's just how you look at shit. Like if you get evicted and the letter say you got to have your $2,700 by Thursday, or be put out or they'll move by Monday to evict you, and you can't come up with the money. You can barely come up with $1,000, let alone $2,700, and you panic. You panic and feel like the world's over. My kid's about to be homeless. You don't know what to do. That's hell. But you can also look at it as fuck it. I've been meaning to move anyway. I'm about to go and fuck around and looking for an apartment.